Hey everybody, I'm Joey and today I'll show you how to cook the steak in a skillet. So follow me and let's turn up the tasty. If you've been following along my food journey for the last few years, you've seen me do several different experiments on how to turn up the tasty and make the best tasting steak right at home. Now, it goes without saying, a great tasting outcome begins with great tasting inputs. So start with a quality cut of meat. Right here we have a ribeye. One of the things that we learned in a prior steak experiment was that you can really enhance the flavor by salting at least an hour ahead of the cook. And that's just what we did here. We didn't have the time, didn't meal prep far enough ahead to get this in the fridge one day before, so we did the second best thing, and it's been salted for 1 hour. I want to thank my friends at Redmond Sea Salt. They're an American-based company out of Utah for sending me this product, and that's what we salted it with. Now, before I drop it in the pan, we're gonna go ahead and hit it with a little bit of pepper on both sides. You know, there's this guy out there called Salt Bae, and I really like to think of myself as like a pepper bay, if you will. I don't know, am I hitting the mark? Made a little mess, but had a little fun. Let's go under the leg. Nope, not gonna work. Instead of a pepper bay, I really like to think of myself as a meat king, if you will. I want to have dominance over the meaty lands. Just having some fun here, guys, but I do like a thick pepper. Now, in previous videos, I've only salted the steak, and that was to really just allow the flavor profile of the steak to stand on its own, but I really do like a heavy pepper steak. Use what you like. Cook with what you guys like to use at home. I'm gonna go ahead and get that on both sides real thick. Other items that I have with me today, you'll notice one of them, it's in just about every video, and that's a cold beer. I love to drink while I cook. We have some avocado oil here. This came up in a prior experiment where we used different types of oils to see which one produced the best tasting steak. It was hands down avocado oil. So we also have some butter here. We're gonna go ahead and show you when we're gonna use that, and then some rosemary. This is a very popular herb to use when cooking steak. And then over here, I actually have some basil. I've never used that, so I'm gonna give it a try today. Again, use what you guys like at home. Now, I can already hear from the meat elitist all across the entire interwebs. You know these guys, maybe one of them is a family member. And some of them will tell you that the only way you should ever cook a steak is on the grill. Well, that is malarkey, my friends. Pure malarkey. Look, there are definitely some wrong ways to cook steak. We can agree on that, but there are many right ways. Now, why would you cook in a pan when you have a grill? Well, guess what? Some people don't have a grill. Some people are living in apartments, in densities where they can't have a grill. So what you're gonna need here is a cast iron skillet. You guys have seen this make an appearance in many different videos. I'm gonna go ahead and heat this up to a medium-high heat. Now, if you've heard me talk before, I think that there really is a myth of a ripping hot pan. You can create a burned, bitter exterior of your steak, especially if you're using an oil that has a low smoke point. Now, once you see the smoke starting to rise up, you know you're ready to go. So now we're gonna go ahead and drop in some of that avocado oil. Pick up the pan, coat it around just a little bit. You can already see that's starting to happen a little bit naturally. So again, I only have this set on a medium-high heat, about a 6.5 out of 10. For this stage right here, a good barometer is time. Look, if you cook in this pan often enough, you'll get used to about how long it takes. It's gonna take us about 2 to 3 minutes per side, but we have an instant read thermometer right here. It's a great tool. something you should always have handy in the kitchen. All right, boys, you've heard me say it before. Remember, tongs before thongs. Remember that. But we're gonna let it cook here for about another 90 seconds. Then we're gonna go ahead and give it a flip. All right, now that I've flipped it, this is a good time to go ahead and drop in that butter. Then, like I said, I've never done it before, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop in this basil. Don't have a lot of rosemary, so we're gonna let that melt. What we're gonna do is just spoon this savory mix over the top of the steak. All right, guys, this is an internal temperature of about 125 degrees, so we're just gonna go ahead and pull that out. When you're cooking in a pan, go ahead and sear that exterior of the fat cap right there. It only takes about 1 second, but you don't want that raw fat cap. I got a little something hanging off there. That was just the way that it was cut. Let it rest here for 5 minutes. You've heard me say it before. This is the hardest part of the cooking process. It smells absolutely, ridiculously good in here. Between the peppercorns caramelizing as it cooks, the basil, and that rosemary. So I'm gonna let this rest, have a little sip of beer, put some of this stuff away, and I'll be right back. Cut in, see how it tastes. Okay, everybody, this steak has rested for 5 minutes. Now, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's cut it open and see how it looks. Now, before I do that, I just want to point out that there's a couple different parts of a ribeye steak. Over here, you have like the center cut portion or the loin portion, and you can just see it's separated right there by some of that fat. But up here, this is called the spinalis. This is one of the most marbled and most desirable cuts of steak anywhere to be found. So I'm gonna cut this in 2 spots. First, let's go right here. Yeah, what's that color looking like? Medium. It's a thin steak. You got a little medium there, more than a medium rare. Let's check out the spinalis. We'll just cut it like that. Take a look and see. See, now we can see that. Look at that. Now that is more of a medium rare. So we're actually dealing with a couple different muscles here on this steak. And that's, because of the fat content, ribeyes are a really forgivable steak to cook at home. But as you can see here with the 2 different muscle groups, we have, we're talking shades, right? But just slight differences in the color. Again, this portion is from the spinalis, definitely more of a medium rare. And this one right here, I'd call more of a medium. Look at all that marbling right there. That fat is where beef, meat in general, gets a lot of its flavor. And you can see there's much more of it over here in the spinalis than there is in this section of the steak. So let's dig in and see how it tastes. First, start over here with the spinalis. Look at that, great color. Oh my gosh. It's a big boy bite. And that's the thing with these ribeyes. They are so decadent because of all that fat. Really hits pretty hard on the umami scale of flavor. I've been cooking with avocado oil for so long. What I notice is it makes a great crust on the steak, and you can see that right there in that shot. Look at that. That's absolutely phenomenal. It does that great crust without burning the steak. The other thing that we're seeing here is look at those really nice caramelized peppercorns. You can see them right there. So let's dig into this part. Now, I should mention before I bite in, a lot of people love the ribeye. Probably the strip is my favorite. Why? Because take a look at the rest of this steak. Look, it has a lot of fat, and as I mentioned previously, fat is where beef meat in general gets a lot of its flavor, but sometimes I feel like I'm, being a surgeon, cutting off what is and isn't edible. There's some additional fat there. You can see that right there in the middle. Can't really eat that, but with no further ado, now, that's a great tasting bite. The spinalis is very good. Boy, is it rich. This is a little bit leaner of a cut. And because this has a slightly different muscle structure, it's a looser bite. This is a chewier type of bite, but by no means chewy period. It just has a little bit more bite to it. Look, really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, well, you know the drill. Go ahead and hit that big thumbs up like button. Or even better, subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss another steak cook as we continue to turn up the tasty. I'll see you guys soon.